Hello, this is Mayor Packer. Happy Labor Day. It's Monday, September 4th, 10:35 a.m. Um, Had a great morning. Many people in Glen Rock ran today in the Arboretum run. I was there, though I didn't run, but I was very happy to be a part of it toward the beginning. And I thank the Glen Rock JCs for all that they do for the town and for hosting this run every year. And I thank the sponsors. Today I want to talk a little about a couple of things that are going on right now in town that have become, among smaller groups of people, a little controversial. And I want to talk about this a little more at length here than I can do within the framework of a council meeting. We have a number of traffic issues around town, and in fact, I had been talking much of last year and continue this year to our public safety folks, to the police department, about ways we could possibly improve our traffic situation. And many of our conversations last year led to us calling in the borough engineer to propose a traffic study for some of the higher traffic areas where we know that we can do better. And we met with the engineers, a couple of officials from the Board of Ed were there, the police, some of our public safety committee members, and I, and a few others, and met with the engineer and told them about all the problems that we see and that we thought that perhaps we can find a better way. And they came back with a proposal for the various areas that we need improvement. And those areas would be the schools, all the school areas, as well as the two train station areas, the main line tracks and the Borough Hall tracks. And they came back with a number of ideas as to how they might conduct their study. And the idea would be that they'd go to an area, for example, maybe a school, have their traffic engineers have a look, stand there, do a survey, see how the traffic is looking, and come back to us with suggestions on how we can do better. And we got that proposal last year, and we were able to budget for part of it this year. One of the worst areas in town is Bird School. It's a mess. It needs to be fixed. It's a terrible situation, as everybody who drops off there knows. And we all knew that we needed to make it a top priority. In the meantime, a few months ago or earlier this year, some signs were put up on Oxford, which is right near Bird School, reminding people that Oxford is a two-way street. And two signs were put up, one on either side of the road. And initially they were quite large. So we got a number of complaints about the large signs on these residential streets. And we were able to order smaller signs. The large signs, believe it or not, are the standard size, and that's what you get when you order these signs. But we got the smaller size, and people were and are still unhappy that these signs are posted. And from my perspective and the borough's perspective, our DPW and our police have all urged us to keep the signs up. Because they feel that for the safety of the area, these two-way signs need to be up, because during the school year in the past, there have been incidents where, because some of the streets in that area, I believe, are one-way, people believe that street is one-way. However, it's not. So you have somebody on one side entering a street on one side, going one way, some thinking it's a one-way road, so they're driving in the middle. Somebody on the other side of the street thinks it's two ways, and you can imagine the possible problems that can occur. And I hope that my graphic with my fingers was helpful. So the signs went up. The residents who are aware, because they live there, and know the problems and feel strongly that they have some sense of better ways that we could go about it, or at the very least want a voice in how we can fix it, have been consistently reaching out to me, members of public safety, and others, urging us to talk to them about how we can best improve the situation. So we find ourselves with a report from an engineer saying that they'd like to come in, take a look at the situation, have their professionals give us recommendations. And we also have residents who feel that they know the area very well and feel that they'd like to be part of that process. And a decision was made that we're going to do our traffic study very soon. I had proposed at our last meeting that we move forward with it now, and the council agreed, so we are moving forward with it. but the residents in the area are very unhappy because they feel that they're being ignored. And that's what I want to talk about. And I'm sorry it took me a while to get there. This sense that residents want to speak, want to say what they feel, and if we don't listen, may seem to many that they're being ignored. I want to explain why I don't feel that that's true. But before I do, I want to mention that we have a similar situation on Rodney Street, where we proposed an ordinance several months ago, again, based on recommendations from our engineer as to how we could fix the parking problems on that road. And there was a proposal. A pretty large number of residents came to a meeting, every one of them not liking the proposal of our engineer and asking us to reconsider. The council tabled it. We met with the police. Our public safety committee met. And ultimately the council, on the advice of our public safety committee and police, decided that we are going to move forward to vote on an ordinance on the Rodney Street parking situation. And basically the ordinance would be to follow the recommendations of our engineer, which again, the residents don't like it, but we are moving forward with an ordinance. So, and the residents should come and speak. The first reading of the ordinance will probably be at our next meeting, September 13th. And the final reading with the public hearing will be exactly 2 weeks later, if my math is correct, on September 27th. So we have two situations where the borough has been given a professional opinion, but we also have residents who don't like that opinion. And I want to say to those residents and others, you are not being ignored. A decision has been made to follow the guidelines, potentially, of our engineer. In one case, it's potentially, that's Rodney Street, where if the ordinance doesn't pass, we'd have to find a plan B. But going back to Oxford, we are going to move forward with the traffic study, and after we do the traffic study, we would then be happy to meet with residents, which is what I've told them and a few others in a long email string that's going on. And I am sorry that the emails have gotten angry, and I know people are frustrated, but this is the way we move forward. And the way I see it, I understand the residents' frustration, but what I can say is this is how I think about situations like this. Imagine that the borough ignored the advice of our engineer and said, our residents are unhappy, we don't feel that the engineer has their best interests at heart, or we don't feel the engineer understands the situation as well as the residents who live there. And we ignored their advice, got suggestions from very well-meaning and intelligent people who have put a lot of thought into what they feel should be done. And if the borough moved ahead and listened to our residents, ignore our engineer, and move forward with a solution based on that, and then something very bad happens, the borough has put itself at risk. Because if there's an accident or anything goes wrong and somebody sues the town, and it comes back to the fact that we ignored the advice of our professionals, we could put the borough at risk. That's one aspect, and I am sharing my personal thought process, which you can disagree with, but this is how I think about these things. And I feel as if it's my duty as mayor to always weigh the interest of the borough with the interest of residents, and we hope that they're always one and the same. But that's one thing. Secondly, our professionals are just that. They are professionals. They're trained. They can look at a street and see things that none of us can see. And we go through a process where we hire a firm that we feel is best, and we are confident in our engineers, and we do think that they know what they're talking about, so we feel that it's best to give them a chance to have a look. And I don't know, you have a right as you listen to this to disagree with me, but I think it always makes sense to have the professionals weigh in and then have the conversation with residents as to their feelings about the professional opinion. So that's where we are near Bird School. We are going to listen to our professionals first, and then we will meet with the concerned residents, and we'll take it from there. So I always apologize for frustration as people are caught up in these situations. I know people are passionate, and one thing I've heard, not only in these types of situations but others, is the council's not listening to us. And generally, I get that comment from any situation where there are two sides to a story. And one side is always going to win out. When the council needs to make a decision, we're going to make one group of people happy and another group of people unhappy, unfortunately. It's not that we're not listening to the unhappy folks. Because if it went the other way, now the other people are going to say we didn't listen to them. It's a matter of listening to everybody and making a decision in a way that we feel is best for the town, for the borough, and for everybody. So I've rambled. I should script these things. I hope this helps. I will always be open and transparent with these things, and you won't always agree. But all I can say is that we really do try to do the best for everybody, and we are not trying to frustrate people, even though sometimes that is the outcome. So please enjoy your Labor Day, and I'll talk to you again soon.